What's up, you beautiful, fine motherfuckers? Like, holy shit. I don't even know how to tell you guys. This is like a massive, massive, massive fucking opportunity. I know there's all these people that are excited about the TikTok ads. I think they're cool. I'm not in any way discouraging you guys from doing TikTok ads, but I think crypto marketing, my God, it not only is it wide open, the opportunity is massive. There's very few people who've even focused in on doing this. Very few people who understand it. So I've taken, by the way, all the questions and stuff you guys asked, turned it into the best version I could do of a training. The idea here, I'm going to show you what I do to become a crypto consultant, get millions of tokens, do it in 1 to 2 hours of consulting. This actually complements having a marketing agency really well because it uses all the skills that you have. But I've structured it in such a way it was a time drain. And just to give you guys a little bit of backstory, I didn't wake up and one day say, I want to be a crypto consultant. I have some friends launching tokens. And they reached out to me and said, like, hey, we were launching this token and we need some marketing help. And I was like, oh, I don't really kind of do that, and I don't have the bandwidth for it anyway. And they said, well, would you be open to just consulting? Like, we just need to be told what to do. Like, we don't necessarily know how to approach this. And I said, well, I don't necessarily know the crypto space, but I'm sure I can figure it out. And if it's just a matter of like thinking and strategizing and you guys will do all the work, I'm open to doing that, and I would be asking you to just pay me a little bit up front for my time and energy, and then you can give me a whole bunch of tokens. And this is the result: is people will give you millions of tokens and things like that. So this is my Metamask wallet, which is up here. Just for security reasons, I'm not going to open that. But anyways, here were some of the questions that I got. Like, I broke them down to like types of questions. There were some questions on the big picture, generally interested on your take. What's a crypto project? Need a guideline for beginner marketing strategies to launch. I'm not a crypto expert, so the basics of the business model, but I found it incredibly difficult to navigate the space. This is the biggest thing I hope to give you guys. Crypto is a very, very, very fucking big space. And I want to show you guys at least our way to win it. I never want to tell you like I have all of crypto figured out. I don't. I think anybody who's telling you, that's a little bit of this warning, by the way. This isn't financial advice. I'm just sharing what's working for me. I'm not saying this is the way that'll work for everybody. This is just a method that's working for Frankie Finn. I certainly don't have the whole crypto market figured out. Anyone else who tells you they've got all the crypto figured out, in my opinion, is full of shit. But having said that, like I can't even tell you like how big the opportunity is. Like, just to give you guys an idea of numbers, this is Kiki tokens. I got 80 million of them. If Kiki hits 1 cent, it may go to 0 too. Like, I don't want to bullshit you guys. Like, but if it goes to 1 cent, that's $800,000 worth of tokens. And part of how we're hedging our way around that is I'm consulting on like probably about 5 projects right now, and I just need one of them to hit it big, and I'm basically invested like 5-10 hours into it. So that's the thing, is the upside is massive, the downside is pretty minimal. And I want to give you guys, before I get into like what I'm doing, some like big picture principles, because if you understand these, how they're applied, it'll just make navigating this space so much easier. So I approach everything, by the way, as an investor, something called asymmetric risk. I've read a lot of investment books, and asymmetric risk means, in essence, like if you're wrong, you want to be wrong just a little bit, and if you're right, you want to be right a lot of bit. So when I get 80,000 tokens, if I'm wrong, then I'll have invested in an hour or two into the project, and I'll have lost a little bit of time and energy. And if I'm right, I could be, profiting millions from that one single project. So this is really, really key. It's like one of my mentors compares it to like if you're flipping a coin, and every time that coin lands heads, you lose $10, and every time it lands tails, you make $1 million, or like let's say 1,000. Let's make it. That's asymmetric risk. So even if it's landed heads 7 times in a row and you're down $70, keep flipping it, right? So, because it's going to be worth it. You're basically kind of aiming for those moonshots a little bit. And when I say risk, I don't want people think risk financially, and there is financial risk, but I also want you to think about the time and the energy component of risk, right? Like how I've set these deals up is I'm investing a little bit of time and energy and using a lot of the resources I already have. That's a real key to making this work. And the monetary reward is potentially very, very high. But the risk, if I'm wrong, because projects can go to zero. In fact, I'm quite sure some of the projects I'm working on right now may end up at zero just based on, like, that's how the crypto space works. Like, not every token launch is successful. But you do this right, you get huge upside, and you're not really super invested in terms of downside. Like, I haven't risked anything financially, and as far as time and energy, it's an hour or two. So I want to, like, it's very, very important that when you approach these deals, you look at, like, the asymmetric risk. Another big principle is, and this applies, by the way, too, in agency space as well, but man, is it even more powerful in the crypto space, is that people will pay you a big slice of a later pie versus, like, retainer work, right? So one of my mentors compares this to, imagine you had a magic pen and somebody said that when you write a check with this magic pen, every single time it'll automatically cash. It doesn't matter the amount, the magic pen. Well, if you ask for $1,000 up front for that pen, you're going to have a hard time collecting it because people, like, you have to establish a lot of trust and a lot of proof and a lot of, like, those kind of things to show that your magic pen is the real deal and the checks will really cash. But I want you to imagine instead the flip side of that. If you say, hey, it's my magic pen, every time you write a check, it'll cash. It doesn't matter the amount. Go ahead and write as many checks as you want, but every time you write a check, I just want you to pay me 25%. So if you write a $1,000 check, you owe me $250. Does that sound okay? And you can just have it up front. Almost always people will say yes. So this is part of it, is people will pay you a much bigger slice of a later pie, because to them, like, it's win-win, right? If these tokens end up worth millions and I make millions, they're happy to give you a big slice of a later pie. It's when you ask for all the reward up front, like in terms of a retainer, how you would typically do an agency, then you'll have a much harder time getting these deals. And this is why I'm managing the risk, because I know sometimes I'm going to be wrong on these deals. And just because I think a project is cool doesn't mean it'll automatically turn out that way. But if you do that, you can create big slices of later pie and still get paid a little bit today. That's kind of like my big secret. Another thing is I always, and this is true just as much in an agency as in the crypto space, but I'm amplifying flow. I'm not creating it. In essence, I'm looking for projects that would be successful without me. I'm just helping them do it better, easier, faster, with less mistakes. So much of the project's success, or so much of the success, is going to be in being choosy. I'll show you in a minute which niches and how I do all that, but it's going to be really, really key before I show you how to do this. Like, you have to, like, be really selective with projects, because there's just a lot of shitty crypto projects that are going to be worth zero. And then there's big principle number 4. This is good news for you guys. For whatever reason, I have friends in the crypto space that are great at programming, and they know fucking zero at all about marketing, like really basic things like having a website and getting people to it, things that are be really, really obvious to you and would be really, really obvious in your marketing space, are not always obvious to crypto people. Like, for example, I have a friend who his wife is like a stay-at-home mom, and there are all these stay-at-home moms that got laid off for these COVID mandates, and they said, hey, we're looking for ways to make side income, and he said, oh, well, I'm making side income trading crypto. And so he started a little Telegram group, and they joined the group, and he made one single post, and it said, so who wants to invest in our fund? And was shocked that nobody wanted to invest in his fund and didn't know what to do with those groups. So things like that are like really obvious, that you have to produce content, you have to like explain to them how the thing works, you have to like give them videos, you have to answer questions, you have to deliver value, right? Like, that's really obvious to us, but I'll tell you, in the crypto space, for a lot of projects I get into, they know zero about marketing. That's good news, because it means you can find projects that are great projects with great upside, that they simply just need your skill set. Like, they need what you already could do in your sleep, which is drive a little bit of traffic to it from the right people and watch it convert. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes here. Now that I've given you guys a little bit of background on what I'm doing, because the principles are so important here, let me show you. A lot of your questions were like, how do I find the projects? How do I find clients? Like, One person asked, long-term sustainability, dealing with down periods when the crash, especially with NFTs. I expect that to be over one day. Longer bear markets. What crypto projects do you focus on? How to find and filter clients who actually plan to launch a token. I did some TikTok growth for NFT projects, but it was hard to make content for them as they didn't have much to offer. I wanted to target crypto projects, but don't know how to find them, to be honest. Actually, I want to join your training to understand how to find these projects and what is the best niche to work. You really need to get in on the seed rounds to make any real money. Anyway, I'd like to know how to find up-and-coming projects, and I would love the training to cover targeting and niching down. Related question idea, is it even worth trying to inject the token launch principle into a business of a client that wasn't planning to launch one in the first place? Or should we go after clients specifically trying to launch their own token? Is it worth to target these that are not even solution aware? In other cases, I'd say no. Is token launch an exception? Firstly, I want to know, where can I find such clients? Okay, so these are a mixture of like, where do you find clients, how do you choose them, and the niche. And I just want to be really, really clear. Like, again, we're looking for projects that would be successful without us. So we're not going to try and convince anybody to launch a token that doesn't plan on launching a token. We're looking for stuff that is already in the process of launching that needs our help. So I'll tell you what I've done. I never want to tell you ever, guys, that like this is the only way you can be successful. This is just what's working for me. And this is our way to navigate the crypto space. The first thing, and this is like really, really basic marketing 101, but you have to choose a niche. And I'll give you a couple of niches I've come across. And just for, there's no one niche that's better than other. It's just like dentists aren't better than contractors. It's just like, pick a niche that you would enjoy working. So I have friends that do gaming. I have friends that do shit tons with NFTs. I am personally a DeFi guy. We'll get into that in a second because I love investing in numbers and geeking out on that. There's a whole bunch of like meme coins, things like that. There's chain-specific projects like Avalanche, Ethereum, Phantom, Near, all those. Like if you know a lot about a specific chain, you can specialize in one of those. And then there's a lot of friends I have that are like traders, where they day trade and they look for ups and downs and swings in the market. It doesn't fucking matter which one you pick. You just have to pick one that makes sense to you and stick with it, because otherwise, like navigating the crypto space, there's just going to be way too much fucking information to stay on top of. It's not, so choosing a niche isn't necessarily about like any of these are harder or easier than other. It's just they each have their own information flow. Like for me, because I follow DeFi, I only really follow like DeFi protocols and new things coming out in that space. It gives me a lot less to have to pay attention to when I join groups that are about DeFi. When I join Telegram and Twitter and I follow people, they're about DeFi. So it makes it so like I don't have as much information to keep track of. So that's why you have to choose a niche, because otherwise there's literally a new crypto chain coming out every 5 minutes, and those chains have projects and those projects have NFTs and there's new coins. If you don't niche down, like you'll be information overwhelmed to the fucking extreme. So pick one that would be fun for you and stick with it. And I'll tell you again, for me, what's working is I do a mixture of, I do decentralized finance. And I also like every now and then, if a project is just launched by a cool friend of mine where I think it would be fun to work on, I do it just for that reason. I know that's probably not a good reason to do a project, but I have friends who are like, hey, I'm launching this token. What do you think? Would you be interested? If it's a cool friend and I know they're a successful entrepreneur and I trust them, I get into it just because like it would be fun to make money with my friends. So enjoyment of the project, like those are my two criteria. Is it a worthwhile DeFi project? Would I enjoy the project? And understand, every time you get into a crypto project, it could be worth millions, it could be worth zero. Obviously, I want you to choose carefully and choose as many projects as you can handle and think that will be worth millions. Always aim for the millions, but understand that it's just the nature of the beast. Some of the projects you're going to get in are going to be worth exactly zero, which is why we want to manage that risk, like I mentioned. It's why we want to manage our time, our energy, and our money investment so that we're not too far into it. So here's some questions I ask myself, by the way, to tell if a project's going to be worth millions is, will this still be around in 5 to 10 years? Like in crypto, that's an eternity. And the biggest thing I look for is utility. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that, but like in the gold rush, the San Francisco gold rush, people made fuck tons of money. And the people who made the most amount of money sold the tools, the shovels, the pans for sifting for the gold. I look for tools. I want to sell tools to people. What I don't look for is projects with hype. I'll show you some examples of this in just a second. But I'm looking for things that do something, that have a real utility and are likely to be around. What I'm not looking for is hype. And this will be easy to see because you guys are marketers, so you'll see through it. As far as like where you find shit, this is true in any niche, by the way. You go where the conversation is already happening. In the case of the crypto market, this is what I can tell so far, and this is in order of where it first happens to like where it trickles down to. The first place you're going to hear about new shit is on Twitter. Second place is on different Discord channels. Third is on Telegram. Fourth is on Reddit. And fifth is on YouTube. You don't necessarily have to follow all of them, by the way. Like, you can follow ones that make sense for you, but pick a niche. Find the relevant people in there, follow those people, and pay attention just a little bit to what's moving and what's happening in those spaces. And I'll show you guys there's some tools that do this, or maybe actually that's probably maybe we'll do a part 2 of this, and I'll show you some of the tools to help you find tokens and stuff that are launching. But that's basically it. It's like, for example, if I go to Twitter, by the way, I'm on Twitter, and you can tell I'm not a Twitter guy because I don't fucking use it much, but you can literally just search for like in my case, if I'm searching for DeFi, decentralized finance, right? If I search for DeFi, if my shit works. I think I got a whole 6 followers on Twitter, so thank you guys for that. So like here, I'm seeing DeFi Pulse, Miners, Market Insider. Like, you can just see stuff like happening. Even if you know nothing about it, you can see accounts and you can take a look at their tweets and see whether or not they're useful to follow. I look for people that are like kind of announcing projects before everyone else, rather than just promoting individual projects, but people who like are kind of like hubs of information, if you will. That's what I'm looking for in accounts. And you can do this on Discord, and you can do this on Telegram. For example, let me just pause really quick. So I didn't want you guys to have to watch this load, but like on Twitter or on Reddit, there's a whole bunch of like, DeFi conversations. So you can follow these things and see where projects are going before they come up, right? So I don't want to like make this whole thing about where to find shit, but these are the 5 places you find shit: Twitter, Discord, Telegram, Reddit, YouTube. And I would say YouTube is last on the list because usually the shit happens here first on Twitter, and then you'll hear about it last on YouTube. It's okay depending on which niche you're getting into if you're last to hear about it. But generally speaking, the earlier you can hear about projects, the more you're going to make the money. Obviously, somebody mentioned the earlier you can get into projects before they go big, when they're brand new, that's when the money is made. So like, what you're looking for is early things that have this real utility, and I'll show you some examples. But what I'm looking for to make this real easy for you guys is I'm looking for useful projects, and I'm looking often that the marketing is bad, but the project is useful. So like, if they have geeky tech speak about what their thing does, I'm excited about that. If they talk about like hype, you're gonna moon, you can get fucking rich, you're gonna get FOMO. I stay the fuck away from that stuff because it's usually empty and it's not going to be around in a few years, and you probably won't make millions. And even if you do, you're going to do it in a way where you rip people off. So I'll give you 2 simple examples. These are real projects. I'm just looking. Let's see if we can I zoom in for a second here on my screen? So this first one is what I would call a hype. Right? It says, Mooks, world's highest fixed APY, 2 million %, innovational, tax-free liquidity, providing with new method, huge reward, token staking, huge NFT giveaway, fair launch, blah, 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 locked liquidity until the end of the world. That, to me, is like a giant fucking red flag no, because it's all about, you're going to get rich, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't tell you anything about what the project actually does. Okay, so this is like the biggest no-no, is like avoid shit like this like the plague. Is you're going to get rich, you're going to make millions, blah, blah, blah. That's how newbies get their money stolen in the crypto space. What I look for is utility, right? Like tech speak. So this is one I just invested in the other day called Blockbend. If you guys are in the crypto passive income group, you already know that. By the way, we got a Facebook group for that. But this is what it says on their website, by the way. Full suite, decentralized and cross-chain services. Anonymous cross-chain transactions, farming, escrow service. Okay, remember, we mentioned tools. I want tools. I don't want hype. So this is like I said, the biggest thing we want to avoid is shit like this. You're going to become a fucking millionaire overnight. This is an app. This is a tool. This is how you transact. By the way, Blockbend, for those of you guys who don't know, It's a common problem that if you want to go from like Bitcoin to Ethereum or to, you know, Phantom or whatever, like to these different chains, like you have to go to an exchange, you have to trade, it's kind of slow. This allows you to do it with like one click button. It's super cheap, it's super fast. So this is like really useful technology in my mind. I could be wrong, by the way. It could be worth zero. But if I'm going to reach out to somebody about a project, it will be Blockbend and not these guys. Okay, and reaching out to them is no different than any marketing agency. By the way, it's really simple to reach out to these people. You click out, you go to the bottom of their website, they have Twitter, they have Telegram, and you just say like, hey, I came across your project Blockbend, I really like it, will you guys be interested in some help with marketing and strategizing? And you can be really honest with these people. This is like what I told all my crypto friends, or you know, on the different projects. I'm like, hey, I'm just at my bandwidth. I'm happy to help you guys with strategy and resources and tell you guys what to do, and I'll give you like people and things like that, but I don't have the time to be executing and like creating content and doing those things for you, but I'm happy to tell you which kinds of content work and how to create that and all those kind of things. So if that's like okay with you, like let's go ahead, and if it's not, that's cool too. And you'll be surprised, most people are like, yes, we need that help, and they're okay with it, and it's a valuable deliverable to just be consulting and bossing everybody around and telling them what to do. All right, let's just click here to reset the size, so we're back into. Actually, I say that, and now I should show you. So this is just like from Reddit here. I went into the DeFi thing, and I wanted to show you. Here's 3 projects. I just want, because project selection is like 80% of the battle in this. So I'll show you. These were just 3 projects in a row, and I'll tell you which one of these 3 I would reach out to and why. So this one says Petroverse, the first and best GameFi metaverse, high APY, auto staking, auto compounding protocol, fair launch pre-sale, raised all this money, double KYC audit, dual currency, no team tokens, private sale. That to me reads like hype and you're going to get rich. And that to me is like avoid that personally. Helena Financial, $1 million buyback started, CMC listed, 500,000% APY and Genesis, experienced and known team. Again, that's you're going to get rich. That to me is X that out. So the first 2. This one sounds kind of boring, actually. The WorkQuest app testing bounty campaign, round 3. So this is an app. This is a tool. This is people asking for help to improve the tool. Tools and utility get my attention, especially ones with bad marketing, right? Like this is bad marketing. I have no idea what their fucking tool does. And so sometimes just being able to help them in one sentence get their messaging right, to be able to say their tool, what their tool does, is going to be useful. Those are the kind of things I do look for. So if I was going to reach out to one of these 3, it would be this one right here, the one that sounds boring, the one that sounds unhypey, and I'd be interested, like, what the fuck does your tool do? So part 3, a lot of you guys had questions basically like, how do you get paid as a consultant on crypto projects? And this is why I introduced this principle, is we're working together for a bigger pie later, right? Like if you're asking for $10,000 up front for the magic pen, then you're going to have a hard time getting it because they're asking somebody else to take all the risk. But if you say, just pay me a little bit to cover my time, and I'm happy to get founders tokens, so when this project is successful, we all win, people will pay you millions and millions of dollars of future money because future pie is no risk, right? So they'll pay you much, much bigger percentages. So this is how we want to structure our deals. Get paid a little bit now, a lot a bit later. And how you do this is really, really simple. Is like, it's a form of like, if we could accomplish blank, would that be worth blank? And most of these projects are looking to raise a certain amount of money. So it's like, hey, if we could raise 10 million, would that be worth, 80 million founders tokens or whatever percentage they're open to? Most times, by the way, I let them name these numbers and they're super, super generous. So you don't have to like try and like super negotiate. Like I just say like, hey, I'd love for this project to be successful and help you guys hit this $10 million goal. If we could raise 10 million, what would that be worth in founders tokens? And they'll say blah, blah, blah. I'm like, are you open to sending these founders tokens? They're not worth anything now, but if we can hit these goals, they are. And they'll usually just say yes. And they'll just send it. They'll say, what's your wallet? And they'll send them over. Like it's not super complicated. I haven't had really a lot of issues with that. And then this is the last part, which I think most of you guys had the most questions, other than like project selection. This was the thing that we had the most questions about, which is basically like like, what do you deliver, right? Like, okay, you're talking with them for an hour or two. Like, how do you make that worthwhile that they're going to give you millions of tokens? So I'll read some of the questions people have. From what I've observed, most projects are building a community and run across promos to kick things into gear. What value could I offer to crypto projects to realize such wondrous rewards? What are the best marketing strategies for launching crypto? What targeting are you using for crypto and NFTs with paid ads? And what is the marketing plan? Then what marketing channels are really working and acquire leads with best ROAS and ROMI metrics? And when your course will start, I need it ASAP. Generally, what is it you suggest as delivering part of the consultation? Okay. So a couple of things, a couple of the questions here, by the way, were about running paid ads. I'll tell you, we don't run any paid ads in the crypto space. I'm sure you could do it, but I've only gotten roadblocks. The one thing we have looked at is you can run ads on Brave browser, like Brave has homepage ads, but you got to spend 10 grand a month, and not all projects have 10 grand a month to spend on that. So most of what we're doing is organic. Now, as far as delivering, the way we're adding value to people is kind of like, I would say, like three things. One is giving them a strategy when they don't have a strategy. So they have like here's the actual plan that we need to execute in order to be successful on them. So that's like the first thing. The second thing is we're bringing them resources in the form of like, sometimes they need people to help them. Sometimes they need tools. Like, for example, like for us to create a website in the marketing space, like most of you guys can do that shit in an hour or two, right? Like for me, I create a website on lead pages to capture leads. I can do that in 5 minutes. That's easy for you and I. That's not easy for a lot of these people who are crypto developers and crypto projects. So things that are really simple and basic, like you can provide for them a lot of resources. And then on top of that, it's like saving them the time and energy of having to figure all this out themselves. So I'll show you what we're doing. And again, I never want to tell you guys like this is the only way to be successful. I'm just showing you what we're doing. And if you're interested, you can model it, but you don't have to do anything. So there's really a couple of things. One of those, and I guess I should kind of like space these out a little bit. There you go. You guys are going to watch me format my Google Doc. So this is basically everything I'm giving them to help them promote their project. And by the way, a lot of these people, like when I say they understand zero marketing, like they'll have no website, they'll have no project, they'll have no content, they'll have no links, they'll have no ads, they'll have no way for anybody anywhere to find out about their project. And so a lot of what you're helping them do is take a good tool, a good utility, and driving some eyeballs to it. So one of the things that I'm doing them is helping them reverse engineer their buyers. I'll give you a real life example of this, okay? So one of the projects I'm involved in, and one of our mastermind members is a little bit involved with it as well. His name's Christian, really, really good dude. It's an NFT project. I normally wouldn't touch NFT projects because NFTs are not my specialty, but it's something I can do that's cool with friends. And so what they help people do is find the up-and-coming NFTs like way faster. That's basically like save them all the time and energy and work. And so the people they need to get this in front of are the people who are buying NFTs, who are going through this process. So one of the things I was like, well, if you go on Twitter, there's an exchange called OpenSea. Now let's go to Twitter, and I'll show you guys what I mean rather than theorize about this. So OpenSea is where people sell all the NFTs, right? So here's OpenSea for those of you guys who don't know it already. My God. Okay. So they have 1.6 million followers. By the way, not all of them, but a huge percentage of their followers are people buying NFTs. I mean, you can see it, right? Like they have NFTs in their profiles, right? So like, I don't know Meta Ladies or Bill ETH or Moody Owl ETH or Luffy, but I know like these are the people buying NFTs, right? So if you got an NFT project, you can get in front of these people. Like you can save them huge amounts of times of just showing them where the buyers are. And so I've got a process for reverse engineering the buyers. It's the same process I use in any market. I use it in the agency space. I've helped people in a lot of different niches to reverse engineer the buyers. I just now apply it to the crypto space. So I help them go, okay, you got an NFT tool for sale. these are all the people buying NFTs that could use that tool. Let's get in front of these people. Second thing I'm helping them do is outreach, and most of what we're doing with outreach is reaching out with influencers. We had some hit and miss with that. Like, I don't want to tell you guys I got all this figured out. We've definitely had some miss in there. By the way, I'm just like looking like who to follow. DeFi yields, right? So like, I don't know this person, but let's see if they have rewards are auto compounded on Moon thing, Tomb Chain. So I can already tell like this is somebody I do want to follow, right? So we mentioned like half the account is finding, or half the battle is finding the information. Tomb Chain's another one. So this is basically how you get to the information first. But what we're helping them do, sorry, got a little sidetrack there, is helping them outreach with influencers who already have crypto audiences and basically bribing them, saying, "Hey, we'd love to give you some tokens in order to give some free shit to your audience, basically to get them involved in the project as well." This is probably the biggest thing we're doing, and it's so fucking mind-numbingly simple and so boring that you would almost think that, like, why would this work? And I just wanted to show you guys. This is a friend of mine, Nick Peterson. Nick's a good guy. There's an exchange he started called Dark Knight where people can swap tokens. And I just want to give you guys an idea of the numbers of like good old-fashioned content put in front of buyers. So he has a YouTube page called The Wolf Den where they talk about most of their stuff. It doesn't even have 3,000 subscribers. So this is a small channel. But I'll tell you, most of these people are buyers. They're movers and shakers. This is one of his exchanges that he owns called Night Swap. And you can see there's $500 million worth of shit being swapped in Night Swap, being held in their farms and pools right now. And the crazy thing is, that's just being done with content to like a few thousand people. So most of these people have no way for people to find out about their projects, and because it's organic and you can't necessarily easily run paid ads, maybe you can. I've been actually, my Facebook ad account, I'm banned on my sixth one, and because of that, I've been focused a lot more on just doing organic things the last little while, and it's come really in handy in Twitter. But we're basically doing like putting out shit on YouTube, putting out shit on podcasts, other people's podcasts mostly that have crypto audiences already, talking about the projects on those shows, getting them booked, going on Medium, writing articles about their things, and then good old-fashioned SEO, which I'm kind of just like a little bit dabbling in, but helping people to find it. But that's basically it. They have zero inroads to their project, and we're telling them what to build. And then specifically, I'm giving them like, here's the kind of content you need to build. Like, here's how people can swap into your token. Here's how they can buy it. Here's why it exists. Here's the cool things about it. Here's the problem it solves. Here's, like those kind of things. Like really basic shit, but giving them a way to like have people discover them. Also doing a little bit of joint ventures. It's similar to the influencer outreach. Like I'm part of a project right now where it is a Hebrew blessing token. So I've reached out to people who have like big audience of Jewish people and said, hey, I'd love to give some free tokens to your audience. Can we run a little promo? Can we mention in front of them? Like really basic shit, like building inroads so people have ways to find out about it. Also lead capture, like people are interested in the project. Just building a little basic opt-in page where they can get an email list and find out about it. Also, like there's a ton of stuff to do with referrals. Usually when the people are building those projects, in my experience, they'll have a little audience already. Sometimes like it's like 50 to like 1,000 people who are already on Telegram or already follow them on Twitter or whatever. The best thing you can do is take the people who are already interested and give them a reason to multiply, like good old-fashioned referral devices where they can lead with value and content and give them tools where they can go talk about the project to people. Sounds really basic, but again, like basic shit to people who understand zero about marketing is really powerful. And then as well, helping them get their tokens listed on exchanges where, again, people can find out about the token when they're on exchanges. I would also say like swaps. And I'm still learning how to do this. So like I don't want to tell you guys I got this all figured out. I don't. Had I not had friends who reached out to me, I probably never even would have started this. But that's basically it, is we're giving them the plan and the resources. And the plan's pretty much the same for everybody. It's just this with like the little bit of details changed, right? Like if I say you need to have a video or a tutorial for how to swap in and out of your token, like how do people buy this, right? Like that, there needs to be a tutorial for that, or how to add it to their wallet. If I tell them that, the details of that will change for each and every token, but the plan giving it to somebody is the same every single time. So I'm basically doing the same shit. So it's very energetic, leveraged, efficient. Most of the stuff I do there's a reason for that. I like to think about leverage stuff. So that's it, kind of like what we're doing in a nutshell. By the way, I hope those principles make sense, help you guys understand how you can get like millions of the old tokens here. And I meant to ask you guys about this. I guess I forgot to write about this. Let me just put this in here. This is not something I'm formally offered, but a few people have already asked me, would you help me with this? And to be honest, I'm probably pretty at bandwidth, but I love you guys, and I would love to be able to help you if you guys are interested. So I would just ask you, if I was to help you with this, would you be interested in getting these projects? What I would ask for is the same kind of deal. So I would take like a small payment up front of like 2K in Bitcoin or whatever token you got. I'm pretty flexible on that. And then we would just do 50-50 on the deals. So like if you're getting, say 80 million Kiki tokens, we would split 40 million each, and I'll probably do these consults with you when you get in these conversations with people, so you can kind of like get a feel for the flow of them, be able to do them on their own. Only if you guys want to, by the way. This is not something I like woke up 2 days ago and said I want to offer this to you guys, but a couple of people of you guys have already reached out to my help. And basically what you would get, like doing it with me versus doing it on your own, which I hope I've given you enough to be able to do it on your own too. Like I want you guys to be able to get value from this. But it's basically like saving the time and energy of figuring all this out, like following all the accounts, the niches to pick, all those things, and like finding where the flow of information is. Like it's just a lot of work. If you value your time, like, a couple of K in Bitcoin just to like not have to deal with that is, in my opinion, worth it. And so what I would help you do, by the way, with that is get your first deal in place, get your first founder tokens actually in your wallet where you can see them done and you have that upside, and done in a way, like I said, where it's leveraged energetically. So if those tokens become worth a bunch, you make a bunch. If they don't, and you can always help people, by the way, with like little basic shit, is like just pointing them to people who do content, right? Like, hey, here's all the content you need. Here's a plan. Here's somebody who can create all the content. Here's their rates. Blah, blah, blah. Like that's really useful to somebody in a consult who, is launching a token. And by the way, I should add, I only deal with people who are actually in the process of launching tokens. I don't try to convince anybody that's not doing that, who has some kind of useful tool. But if you guys are interested, I'll help you get your first deal in place. I will tell you there is a little bit of work involved in terms of outreach. It's really simple. Like for real, like if you send 5-10 our style kind of personalized messages, you'll have somebody who wants to do a deal with you. But you do have to send like 5 or 10 messages to people and like strike up some conversations and have those things. And you'll be able to get paid as a crypto consultant. You'll still be able to run your agency. Like I run my agency and mentor people on running an agency, and I'm still able to do these crypto consults because, basically I just spend an hour or two with them in a meeting, lay out the whole game plan, and then, answer a little bit of back and forth questions in WhatsApp or Telegram or that. That's all I'm basically delivering, and that's all I can. And then I've got some bonuses for you that will, if you want to do this with me, and you can do this on your own too, so I'm not like telling you have to, but hopefully if you do it with me, I'll save you a bunch of time and energy and a bunch of mistakes. Especially if you guys are doing crypto already, I think this is a no-brainer because you'll make way more money owning millions of tokens on a startup that goes big than you will, like investing $1,000 into this project here and there or whatever. Not that you can't do that, but so what you would get with doing it with me is I already have the process and plans for reverse engineering the buyers. You can, and this, by the way, works in your agency too. Works gangbusters, organic and paid ads for figuring out who are the people that are actually spending money. I gave you one example of that where we went on Twitter and we did OpenSea. Like all the people following OpenSea are the buyers of NFTs. So I'll give you another example of this. FTX is another exchange. So let's see if we can find FTX. I don't know if they have an account or not. There we go. FTX official. Again, this is a place where people buy and sell NFTs, right? So if you're gonna run an NFT project that makes the lives easier of NFT projects, going after their followers, these are all the people who are buying NFTs, and you can see like a lot of these people have NFTs and their things. So I have a process. You can go into any market, anytime, any place, reverse engineer the buyers. It's for those of you guys who are already in our mastermind. That's a bonus in the members area, so you can check that out whenever. I've also like the content plan, like, and this is still evolving, but I've got it copy and paste, so like you'll have this ready to go before you get on a console. So you're like, hey, here's all the content you need to make, how to add this token to your wallet, how to exchange, why it exists, the problems it solved, here's what you can do with it, here, like things like that, have that ready to go. Also have the outreach, I should say not even just plan, but we have the scripts. So you have the exact messages you need to reach out to people and get them to buy into the project. I don't necessarily have this all figured out, but we can help you figure it out, like which exchanges to get listed on, save you a bunch of time and energy figuring out exchanges. Because, like, again, we're building inroads to these projects. If people are going to find out about them, they need to be able to go and purchase them. Also have referral devices, because almost always, if it's a real project, they'll have 50 to 1,000 people that are already paying attention to it. Like, the easiest thing you can do is like give some value to those people and give them a way to multiply that project and give them little bribes and things like that to go and promote for you, get your audience involved. And then as well, a little bit about setting up the tokenomics. I don't necessarily have this all figured out, but like setting up so projects will be long-term successful. And then of course, I have a whole bunch of resources of say what they need is people to shoot videos. Well, it's a lot easier if you already have the people to shoot the videos, or if they need Medium articles written and you have a really good article writer. I have a whole bunch of resources. That's one of the cool things about running a group of you guys. It's you guys, I just know so many of you guys, get to know you, so I can help you connect them with people who can help them do pieces really, really quickly. And that would be kind of my version of it. So if you'd be interested in that, like I said, it would be 2K in Bitcoin or some equivalent coin, and 50% of any future deals we do together, and it would save you all the time and energy, and we'll get your first deal in place and your first founders tokens in your wallet and all set and good to go. So I hope this wasn't too long. I hope it wasn't too rant. I'd love to hear from you guys. I know this probably isn't complete, and I'm sure you guys have questions for me, things you want to know, all that kind of stuff. So feel free to drop a comment below. I would love to know just what you guys are thinking, what questions you have, what you're up to. This to me is for real. This is such a big opportunity to create. You guys can become millionaires from this in my opinion, in under 6 months. Probably in 90, I would say 3 to 6 months, you can predictably become a millionaire. You pick up 5 of these projects, you choose them really carefully, ones that you're relatively certain would be successful without you. You help amplify them, you help them raise some money for a good project, and then you end up getting massive upside, and all you do is you just share your knowledge and expertise. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, you want my help, reach out to me or drop a comment below, and maybe we can have a little private, or just say send me a PM, and I'll send you guys a PM about this. I'm not looking to do this for tons of people. I'm actually, what I'm most interested here, on a personal level, is the 50% on deals. So you guys help me find projects that we wouldn't otherwise find together, and just sharing the resources and stuff I've already created. So if that sounds interesting, drop a comment or any questions you have. Other than that, that's all I got for you guys. May the force be with you. Much love. And thanks for listening to this old dad lay in bed and talk about crypto.